back to work after my dad died. I couldn't drive, I couldn't walk the dog, I couldn't even leave the house. So I went to see the doctor and I said, I need a pill to help me, get over this. And he said, it sounds like you have depression and anxiety and panic attacks. And that was my official diagnosis. And he sent me to see a psychologist, and that helped a bit. And then I saw a psychiatrist, and that helped a little bit. And it got me sleeping, and it stopped the shaking. But I still had memory and decision-making problems. And so I was off work for 6 weeks, and I couldn't go back to work if you can't remember people's names and make decisions. And so I did something else. I did some research on Google. And I found this thing called Al-Anon. And Al-Anon, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is for people that suffer from alcoholism, and they meet in groups for group support. Al-Anon is for family members. And they had one that had my name on it, and it said Adult Children of Alcoholics, like specifically made for me. And I could have never gone when my dad was alive. My dad was a police officer and an alcoholic, and we had a pretty tough upbringing. And pretty negative childhood, very inconsistent. And I can say, sadly now, that I hated my dad most of my life for how he treated my mom and my 3 sisters, and for me for not standing up to him. They do daily readings at an Al-Anon meeting, and they sit around the group in a circle and you share what that reading meant to you. And I remember they read one about fear. And as they talked about fear, everyone else around that circle had the same response I did. They were shaking, they'd be avoiding people, they'd be sweating, they'd have their head down, they'd feel like they're going to be sick. And they'd lost the joy for life. And they were having the same response, but to different alcoholics. And it just didn't make sense to me. How can we all be having the same response? And then I realized I'm having that response, and my dad had died. And so I did some more research on Google, and I put in all those things. I came up with the fight or flight response. And it's useful for chasing saber-toothed tigers, or they're chasing us. And it's an automatic response. It's built in for big stressful situations in our life. And what happens when we have the fight or flight response, it's automatic, our hearts start to pound, and we send a signal to our muscles to get tense, ready to fight or flee. We also sweat. That's our radiator, like a dog salivates. The butterflies in the tummy come from when we shut down all the blood because it's going to the muscles. We shut down the blood to our digestive system so we feel like we're going to be sick or throw up. And we also get a dry mouth because it's all one long tube. And I really need a drink as soon as I'm done here. The other end of the tube is all connected too, and if you're under stress a lot, you get a lot of intestinal problems. And I ended up having to have a colonoscopy to try to figure out what was going on, and in the long run, we found it was just stress. So if you put your hands together like this, like this, that's about the size of your brain. And it's not proportional for those of you who have smaller or bigger brains, but the way the brain evolved was, this is the reptilian part of the brain. All mammals have that part, and when we're stressed, blood goes here, so we're ready to fight or flee. We have this inside part of our brain, the emotional part of our brain. It's called the limbic system. We don't have to be in a stressful situation to have a fight or flight response. We just have to think about it. The night before, worrying about those kind of things. Blood goes there full time. And this is memory, cortex, decision-making, the human part of the brain, and the blood doesn't go there. That's why we have trouble remembering things, and that's why that's right there right now for me. But we don't have big tigers today. There's nothing chasing us. We have all the basics of life, food, water, shelter, people that care for us, but we have work and jobs and social media and all these other things and our kids that can be coming at us too fast. But we have that same fight or flight response as if it was a saber-toothed tiger, but it's on a low burn all day, and sometimes all night we can't turn it off. So if we can't turn our brain off, and we can't get to sleep or stay asleep, and that lasts a long time, that's anxiety. If you live with anxiety long enough, it's like one foot on the gas, one on the brake. You burn out the engine, you burn out the car, you burn out, and that's what we call depression. So it's actually called the fight, flight, or freeze response. The deer in the headlight is the freeze part. Or if we walk by a bunny rabbit, it'll freeze first, decide where to go. Or if I just go slam a door, I could tell you all I'm gonna go slam that door. Every one of us would go, and take in oxygen, ready for the fight or flight response. But we can't hit our boss. We can't run away from our problems, and we can't just stand there. So we burn out like I did. But we don't need to. And the solution is really simple. Don't picture a pink elephant. That's right. I said, don't picture a pink elephant. You saw a pink elephant, you can't go back and don't it. Just like when you're graduating high school, university, and you're walking across the stage, you're thinking, don't trip. What do you picture in your mind? Tripping. Don't miss the free throw. Don't fail the exam. Don't screw up. So what we focus on in life grows. If we focus at basketball and practice basketball, we get better basketball. If we practice at chess, we get better at chess. If we practice worrying, we get better at worrying. And I got really good at worrying. So I continued to Google this fight or flight and freeze response, and I found the opposite of it is called rest and digest. After that saber-toothed tiger chased me and I survived, I would rest, digest the food, I'd be okay. Or if I got the saber-toothed tiger and ate the saber-toothed tiger, I would definitely rest and digest. I sure need that water. But we can't fight, flight, or freeze. Those are all F words. My new favorite F word is flow. Remember that deep breath we take. How do I do it? It's called Gimme 5. I inhale through my nose, and I think of a blessing in my life, my 3 kids. And I pause. I inhale, 2 grandkids. Inhale, we're blessed with clean water. Inhale, my friends at the table. I'm good, thank you. You guys are amazing, thank you. Inhale, Deb. Breathing turns off the fight, flight, and freeze response, and when you're counting your blessings, you can't be worrying. It's the same part of the brain. There's other ways to flow, and it's not rocket science, but it is neuroscience. Some people use sound. I have a rain app on my phone that I turn on for 15 minutes and breathe deeply. Some use smell, aromatherapy. Some use sight. I visualize on a lake up in Huntsville in a sailboat and just close my eyes. For taste, chocolate and potato chips. That's what you need when you're fighting a real tiger. Right? It is. It's a fast. So you can't have that. When you are stressed, you need to eat nutritiously. I'm not saying don't have the chocolate and potato chips. Don't have them then. And touch. Puppy therapy. Weighted blankets. Hug a friend. Bonus, talk to someone you trust and turn the anxiety off. So come on, drop a big 4-letter F-bomb with me right here in front of all these people. Exactly. A blessing. Build flow into your life before you burn out like I did. When you get on a plane, they tell you to put the oxygen mask on you first, not your kid. You might not get it on the kid before you get it on you. So make sure you put the oxygen mask on yourself regularly. So who wants to do a 4-letter F word with me? I was off work 4 years ago for a hip replacement. And when I was off work, my friends showed up with tuna casseroles and visited. When I was off for depression, nobody came. People don't know what to say or do. Bring the fucking tuna fish casserole. I was hungry. You, buddy. In hindsight, I've lived with suicide ideation my whole life. In the past few years, there's been a huge increase in suicides. Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, Robin Williams, a football player I coached 4 years ago, a teacher at my school, mother of 2 young kids, a principal I was on a mental health committee with. I was a big brother when I turned 18. My little brother's dad died by suicide. I was there when my dad tried. Soon. At university, I decided to jump off the smokestack of the U of W, first year university, and land right where my dad parked his car because he was the supervisor of security at that time. That's how much I hated my dad. And I'm alive today because a friend listened and didn't judge. So in conclusion, I learned to forgive my dad for his alcoholism. No one intentionally becomes an alcoholic. We all go out, have a couple drinks, or relax with us. But for some people, you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes you. I love you, Dad. I wish we understood this a lot sooner. Thank you very much.